ladies and gentlemen, Raider fans from all points of the globe. You're watching the Live Action Network, the Coach Bradley Seals Show. This is our first episode of the year. We're about to get into the men's bracket, part of the schedule. Also sponsored exclusively by Ryan Seal for Parish President. We always want to remember our sponsors. Coach, we wanted to do this show every week, but ended up different things happened, circumstances didn't allow it, but what a great time, in my opinion, to start the show because, hey, Pine's the thing in town. Everybody's talking about it in the street corners and on the rooftops. Talk to me about the season so far, and we'll go from there.
Well, we've started fast in every game. Defense is playing really well. We've given up 30 points on the season. Offensively, we've scored 40-plus each night. But we know Albany starts this week as district. It's going to be it's just win 2-0, 40-45. Just win the games at this point.
Right. Well, going into this game, you're still undefeated. I've enjoyed every game. It's a great team to follow. And I say every week that if you're a huge fan of high school football and you don't have skin in the game at a certain school, meaning blood, kin, reason to be there, if you want to see good high school football, my opinion, y'all put on a great show, offense and defense.
Yeah, we do. It's a fun team to watch. We're putting up points. Our defense is playing fast. They're making plays offensively. We've got a lot of weapons. We've got a really good offensive line, so we like where we're at so far.
Yeah. Now, I know you wouldn't put it in the same terms, but I was telling Clay Morgan on last week's broadcast that if I was Coach Bradley, I would put all my skill position players' names in a hat and say, this is where we're going to do it. So I don't want to hear any lip. I'm going to pull it out of a hat, and that's who that gets the ball next, because there's so many weapons, man. You can say, well, maybe not, or whatever, the humility-filled answer that maybe people expect, but it's fact, man. You've got a full house.
Well, the thing that makes it go is they're selfless. They're not selfish. They're not selfish kids. In fact, when we played Livingston, we got up and we knew we were going to run the ball to start off, and then we finally started running it. We were able to throw it, and I went to Preston Stogner, our receiver, and I said, "Name your route." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What do you like to run?" I said, "We're going to start throwing it. What do you want?" And he said, "Coach, I don't care about that. We're winning.
Yeah,
keep running it. I'm fine with that."
Yeah.
So, and whenever you have that attitude that the players, they just want to win, it makes it fun, and it makes it to where you don't have to force the ball to a place. You can just pick whatever's open.
Yeah. Well, everybody likes a winner, and they talk about bandwagon fans. I am the #1 bandwagon fan on earth, man. If an NFL team is really good, that's my team that year, And I told Miss Linda McGee Friday night, she said, "What are you doing at Pine?" I said, "I like to follow winners, man." But obviously we're doing the broadcast. It's an exceptional team and fun to watch. Coach, you've got a defense that I describe as a bunch of guys that are fantastic high school football players that will sting you. All 11, 6, 7 hats on the ball every play.
Yeah, and I think our juniors and seniors that are returning, and they rightfully so, they get a lot of credit. But I think our sophomores really, because those are our new guys, but they've caught on to our scheme, and they allow us to play that fast, and they allow us to do what we're doing because we don't have to stop and teach them. They're catching on that we're playing about 4 sophomores on defense, and you can't tell it. Some nights we're making more plays, the most plays on the team.
I think it's got a lot to do with that you've got a chance to play on the varsity that's and exceptional varsity, great reputation around town and within the district, and you want to be prepared to play up to their standards.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good point. They know to play on this team, you have to be prepared. You have to know what's going on.
Right,
you have to play hard.
Defensive line, you got two good ones that I see in there a lot, and your ends. Talk about that defensive line a little bit.
Trey Michael McGee's having a really good year for us. The defensive tackle, Leary and Hart also, they clogged the middle up. And then, Caden Stogner, he's getting a lot of credit, got a lot of sacks, as does Zach Thomas has forced some turnovers this year. They each have over 5 sacks on the year, so we're proud of what they're doing for us.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. The guys in the middle look so good stopping the run. Trey Michael McGee, I told Clay Morgan, I said, man, I love this kid on defense. I don't know what size, I can't tell. What is he, 6'3", 260?
I think he's like 6'3", 250, 245. He's lost weight. He lost about 15, 20 pounds this offseason. Slimmed down. It was a challenge for him to play both sides of the ball, and he's done it for us. He's dropped weight, and he's having a really good year for us.
Exceptional athlete. Learion's doing a great job. Trey Michael, you could play him at tailback at a lot of schools.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He can move.
He's an athlete.
He can move.
Yeah, linebackers, those little guys, and they're not really that little, but I like to call them that because they are hornets. I mean, they get to the ball, Coach.
Yeah, they do. All of them. Ethan Riles, Ethan Rester, Christian Williams, Noah Barber, having a good year for us.
56 came in the other night. Christian Williams had the high ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. A star was born, in my opinion.
He could. I told him, he's a freshman. I told Brody a lot of years he would be starting for us.
Yeah.
But we have a good defense. We have good linebackers. It's tough, but he got to play some against Pearl River in big moments for us. And he started last night and played well.
Right. Obviously, your starters are robust, exceptional linebackers in this league. But it's good to have that extra man, and then exposing yourself to varsity football for 3 years, that's enough, man. You got to remember, it's a rough sport, 4 years. This may be your best year as a freshman when you played on that team.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to take for granted, like, you don't know what the future holds. I mean, I think we're going to be good for the next 4 years. I really do, but you don't know that. You're on a good team now, so enjoy it. Don't check out because you're a freshman and not getting them play a time that you want.
Obviously. If you're ever on a championship team and you were in the 9th grade when your team won a state championship, for the rest of your life you say, hey, I was on that team. Enough said.
Right.
You don't have to explain. I cannot decide from play to play who's my favorite offensive player on offense, Coach. I will just tell anybody, if you don't have about 25 minutes, don't ask me about Pine football. It's impressive, these guys that could, and they've got to be selfless because any one of those guys could be featured at any high school.
Right.
I'm talking about 30 touches a game. But one thing that you got to look at, no significant injuries. And it could be because you're not having to just ride one or two guys.
James going into last week, I think he had 28 carries for 575 yards. He's having over like close to 20 yards a touch. And at one point in the game, I looked up and said, well, he hadn't got the ball. Like, we got to get him the ball. But that's how our offense has been rolling right now, is that we kind of just go what the defense gives us. We go with the hot hand, and whoever it is that night, they've been stepping up and carrying the load for us.
Yeah. Well, I told Clay Morgan during the broadcast, I said, if you want to know which one's your favorite one, don't tell me until you see the next play, because they're all taking advantage. And it's got to be fun to be on a team where we're good. I mean, so I think they're enjoying that. The other thing, Coach, the fan base at the Raider Dome, loud, proud. I'm very impressed.
You know, Livingston, they asked, we didn't go to them. They wanted to come here twice.
Really?
Because they said they want this environment. They want to play in front of fans like we have to get ready for when they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's a compliment to what you're saying. It's a compliment to the fans.
Yeah.
They asked if they could be our homecoming.
No kidding.
Yeah, because they were our homecoming the year before.
Yeah.
So they asked. East Albertville was homecoming, but he was like, we want to play in front of y'all's fans.
Yeah. Well, we talked earlier in the year about how a real coach will ask opinions of different coaches. And it sounds to me like that coach is wise in that, hey, we're not going to win the championship right now, but this is what it looks like, guys. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, hats off to him. The halftime show, Coach, I'm saying stuff other than just football because it needs to be recognized. We're all football guys, but the halftime show, it was, they need to go to Vegas and put that show on, man.
Every year homecoming, it's a big show, and I mean, obviously we don't get to see it. We're in the locker room, but I hear they did another good job.
Great thing about it, and I'll remind everybody, Live Action Network, all you got to do is pull it up. You can scroll up to it, back it up, whatever, and watch the halftime show. Live Action Network, Live Action Network 2023 is our YouTube channel. So that's going to get a lot of watches. I saw one of your linebackers today or at least this week in Tylertown, Ethan Rawls.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what. He's one of my favorite high school football players, man. Really, really brings it.
Yeah. Kind of the quarterback of the defense, him and Ethan Rester. They get us lined up. They get us into the calls we want. Ethan Ross, he's having a really good year, leading the team in tackles. Has an interception, I know. He's been doing it for 3 years, 3-year starter.
Yeah. And look, Ethan Rester, you can look at him on the street and say, I bet you that joker's a heck of a football player, man. I mean, he just got the look, and he can walk the walk too, Coach.
Yeah, he is. He's having another player having a great year for us. Outside linebacker, he moves in the middle some. He's played a lot of football. 3-year starter for us.
Yeah.
We're full of 3-year starters. Got a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, we could name everybody. Christian Williams would be the best player on some teams in Washington Parish.
Yeah, we get him back this week. Start district, we able to get all of everybody to be healthy. Albany's going to be tough. Glad to get Chris back.
Trey Knight on defense. Your ends did an exceptional job the other night of holding the end and not necessarily letting the quarterback get outside, but Trey Knight comes up and supports the run as good as any defensive back.
He's valuable because he can roll down and play like a strong safety outside linebacker on the ball, and he can roll back up and be a free safety. It's always good to have a player like that. We either like to have a safety that can come down or a defensive end that can go back to linebacker, and that's what Trey is for us this year. He can play multiple positions on the field.
Yeah, and those two ends are good. I know we talked about them earlier. Coach, I made the statement at home the other night, and the only person that didn't know I was joking was my wife. I said, the only problem Pine's having right now, the punter's mama is mad because he's not getting to play any. Look, special teams, your punting game's got to rest big time. But the point after touchdown, let me tell you, that is so important, Coach. So important.
Yeah, and he's been automatic for us this year. AJ, he does our extra points and kickoffs. directionally kicking the ball. We'll sky kick some, we'll squib it some. He can kick it deep. He's a big part of our team with the extra point, and then getting our defense set up to pinning the opposing team back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Coach, I've got to say this because it's tradition that I make this opinion known to everybody I can. If you're ahead 7-6 in a high school football game, it takes a touchdown to beat you because very few kick field goals, very few. And the team that you're up 7-6 has already proved they can't make a PAT. So if you hit the extra point, and they score, and you do that 2 or 3 times a night, you win. It's that big. It takes a touchdown to beat an extra point in high school.
Yeah, he's a weapon, and he's got a leg on him too. I mean, we feel if we get to the 25-yard line, we got 3 points.
Yeah, he's money, and I want to encourage him as an old kicker myself, 84 and 85. Sherman Davis likes to talk about high school football when he played, and I do too. The only difference is I really was good, as I say. But, Coach, we talked about the fan base, all the support groups, the community coming out. It's a fun place to be on Friday night, and we've been just really glad to be a part of it. This coming week, let's talk about that a little bit.
Albany's a good team. I think what stands out is their defensive line and linebackers. They're similar to us, that they have a big senior class, a lot coming back from last year. They have a quarterback that is sneaky good. He can move. He's mobile. We'll have to contain him on when they're on offense, and our offensive line's got a challenge for us this week. They've got one of the best defensive players in the district, number 54, defensive end.
Yeah. Now look, offensive line, never fear. You're going to get your time in the sun. We're going to talk about them next week. I talked about them for 45 minutes before we went on the air, so you're going to get yours, guys. But anyway, it's such a pleasure to be around the team this week. Go Raiders going into this next game. Coach, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Live Action Network, the Coach Bradley Seal Show, sponsored by Ryan Seal for Parish President. Go Raiders.